What is it that makes a paranormal romance a total classic? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the book that pretty much wrote the blueprint for the genre, Dark Prince by Christine Feehan. We're going to break down its world, the central crisis, and the fated love story that became the template for an entire genre. So let's meet our main guy, Mikhail Dubrinsky. He's this ancient prince. He's seen it all, knows it all. But here's the thing, all that wisdom, all those centuries, can't do a thing to fix a broken heart. He's on the absolute edge of despair, consumed by a loneliness so deep and profound that he's basically lost the will to live. And that's where we jump in. So, what kind of world creates a man like this? To really get his pain, you have to understand the rules he's forced to live by. This is the core of the whole crisis. The Carpathians are a dying race. The males are born predators. And here's the kicker. Without their other half, their life mate, they literally lose the ability to feel emotion or even see color. Their entire world fades to gray, and eventually they turn into the very thing they hunt, vampires. And the biggest problem? There are almost no female Carpathians left to save them. That captures his personal hell perfectly, doesn't it? He's supposed to be the most powerful of his kind, but he's at the absolute end of his rope. And we're not just talking about sadness here. This is a deep, primal, almost animalistic agony. That is the core problem the story has to solve. So, just when Mikhail is ready to give up, to embrace the end, something totally impossible happens. A voice, just a single thought from a complete stranger, cuts through centuries of silence in his mind. It's not a challenge, it's not an attack, it's a simple, empathetic thought from a human psychic, a woman named Raven Whitney. She has no idea who or what he is, but she feels his pain and she reaches out. She instantly understands the heart of his suffering. And his reaction says everything. This is not supposed to happen. He's the most powerful telepath of his kind. His mind is like Fort Knox, shielded, unbreachable, and yet this human woman has just walked right in. You can feel his shock, mixed with a tiny spark of intrigue, something he hasn't felt in hundreds of years. And boom, right there, their entire dynamic is set. He's this ancient, bossy prince, and she's modern, a little sassy, and totally unafraid to call him on his stuff. That playful clash is the very first sign of life coming back into his bleak, gray world. After 600 years of emptiness, this one accidental mental conversation with a stranger makes him smile. That's not a small thing. It's monumental. It's the first crack in the ice that's been frozen around his soul for longer than most countries have even existed. And this connection isn't some random coincidence. It's the key to the entire central concept of the story, the Carpathian world, the whole idea of the life mate, that fated other half who holds the key to everything. And man, are they opposites. On one hand, you've got this immortal predator who's completely bound by instinct. On the other, a mortal psychic who's all about free will. He lives in darkness, she's basically a bringer of light. It's the ultimate cosmic case of opposites attract, and this dynamic would become a cornerstone for the whole genre. So, what exactly is a life mate anyway? It's not just a soulmate in the romantic sense. For a Carpathian male, she is a literal biological and spiritual necessity. She's the one and only anchor that can save him from turning into a monster. Without her, his dark fate is absolutely sealed. No way around it. And then this is the moment everything changes. He's watching her from a distance, and he notices the color of her eyes, this vivid blue, and that's when it hits him. Wait a minute, he can see color? After centuries of nothing but gray, just her presence nearby is already starting to heal him. So let's break it down. The whole life mate effect triggers a three-step transformation. Step 1, emotions flood back. Step 2, the perception of color returns. And step 3, the big one, salvation from that inevitable slide into becoming a vampire. It's nothing less than a complete restoration of the soul. But this isn't just a personal love story, not by a long shot. Their fated connection is happening right in the middle of a much bigger conflict. The entire Carpathian race is under siege from a threat that literally wants to wipe them off the face of the earth. We're talking about a fanatical society of human hunters who are actively trying to exterminate them. They're using all the classic methods: stakes, beheadings, garlic, the whole shebang. But their main targets are the Carpathian women and children, the very future of the race. This raises the stakes from one man's survival to the survival of an entire species. And who's right at the center of this war? Mikhail, of course. As prince, he is not just a ruler, he is the law, judge, jury, and executioner. The burden of protecting his people, hunting down these assassins, and dealing out justice falls squarely on his shoulders. That adds another massive layer of responsibility on top of his own personal quest for salvation. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most intense part of their connection, the ritual that will bind them together forever, and all the consequences that come with it. The binding is an exchange of blood. Yes, but it's not framed as a monstrous act. It's treated as the ultimate sacrament. It's described as a sensual, even erotic affirmation of love that links the couple physically and psychically for eternity. It's basically their culture's version of marriage taken to a supernatural extreme. But here's the central tension. For Mikhail, this bond is everything. It's life, it's color, it's salvation. But for Raven, this fiercely independent modern woman, what does it mean to be eternally bound to an ancient, super possessive predator? It really forces you to ask some serious questions about her own free will. And that leaves us with the story's big central question. When your fated love is a matter of literal life and death for the other person, is the bond that saves them an act of true love, or is it a beautiful cage? That's the conflict right at the heart of it all, and it's what makes this story so much more than just a fantasy. It's a genuinely fascinating look at fate, choice, and freedom. If this kind of deep dive is your thing, let me know in the comments. Would you like a longer dive or more of a book summary? Let me know. I'm curious. Who's here for this? At its core, Dark Prince isn't just about fated mates. It's about what love costs when destiny removes choice. So tell me, is the life-mate bond salvation or a beautiful cage? Would you accept a love that saves someone's life, even if it costs you absolute freedom? And this question doesn't stop with Dark Prince. It shows up again and again across paranormal romance. If you've seen this trope handled better or worse, tell me which book did it right. Until the next upload, wishing you a happy new year filled with lots of good paranormal romance reads.